welcome. How are you all doing? It's your girl, Da, the B, okay? I'm here to bring you the latest psychology, folks. How are you guys doing? How's your weekend been? How's your weekday been? How's the protests been? Black Lives Matter. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. My subscription has gone up 28%. That's a lot, okay? Don't judge me. I have something super important to tell you. It's breaking news. To me, and to anybody who hasn't known. So, this wonderful book. It says, ladies, forget about marriage. TikTok. Oh my goodness, that is a headliner. Part of the instruction of this book was for women in particular to attain emotional and psychological, as well as financial and economic independence. And it got me thinking, is it something really only peculiar to women, particularly, or to everyone? So that brings me to today's special treat, y'all. I'm gonna be using my phone. No props, sorry. So much to write. Okay. Voila. So I'm gonna be talking about psychological and emotional development. Woo! No, I'm not referring to drama queening. We're not talking about being emotional. We're talking about development as an adult, okay? So guys, let's talk about it. Physical, psychological, and emotional development. These are 3 stages that we go through as adults, okay? Physical development, we all know, height, weight, puberty. Because don't remind me the days of blackheads, pimples. Your girl came out alive, okay? Puberty. That's all I gotta say. So, we've got emotional, psychological, and physical. Physical is when the ladies develop their boobs and the guys develop the depth of their throat. Vocal cords, sorry. Depth of throat. Who are you talking to? So, we notice the physical changes, we notice the physical maturity, but what about emotional and psychological maturity? Well, here's the problem. Because we can't see them, but how do you know that your child or that you in particular are emotionally and psychologically developed? Well, I'm going to give us 5 ways to know that you have become an adult. You're an adult. Oh my God, let's celebrate. Bar mitzvah. Okay. How do we know that we are developing psychologically and emotionally? Because these are very important. Because when you grow, there are 2 ways to look at life. From a child's reference point and from an adult reference point. Now, a child's reference point has dependency, lack of responsibility and accountability, lack of self-sustenance, lack of self-control, kids who still wet beds, okay? So, life from a child's perspective means you do not have control. You're not responsible for what you eat. You're not responsible for where you live. You're not responsible for the clothes on your back. But life from an adult point of reference. Never mind. Life from an adult point of reference is now where you take back all that control. You control what you eat, you put in your body. You're in control of what fashion appeals to you. Turbanista. You are particular about your identity. Your however you represent yourself. In society, you see people who represent themselves as hippies. Nothing against hippies, but that's a way of life. You see people who represent themselves as poised, proper people of society that needs to put up the face, not a facade, please. I'm not speaking against anybody, okay? Nobody. I'm just saying that we develop these choices in early adulthood. And what is early adulthood? 20 to 35, okay? So, as we develop this early adulthood and we start to make our own choices, we start to gain our own independence, we start to gain our own autonomy. African parents, it's called autonomy. Yes. Let me be. Buck. Part 1, becoming a responsible adult. It requires rational and emotive response. Remember our first video on reprogramming your mind, starting with the REBT. Rational, emotive, behavior, okay? So rational response and emotive response. Now don't forget what makes us intelligent humans or beings, not animals. I'm not comfortable being called an animal. Feline, if I must. But what makes us intellectual beings is our ability to think, feel, and act upon these things. If your decision making comes only from feeling, I mean, don't forget, we're talking about how you respond to things. How do you think a toddler responds? By throwing tantrums. Now, are there people in your life that you know, God help, they are so tantrum driven? Hello, my Vicky. So, when you respond from an emotional standpoint, it's a sign of lack of maturity. Okay? Because we already know that emotions are not isolated. People say, I feel hungry, I feel angry. What is in your thought? Okay? I'm angry, I'm upset, I'm frustrated, I'm devastated, I feel so betrayed. Every one of these feelings are anchored on a thought, on a mindset, a perception. Okay? Now, your decision-making process, if it's anchored on your emotions, you're angry and so you punch, you're angry and so you curse, you swear. That's not really what a responsible member of society with autonomy is supposed to do. That's what we talk about, thinking before you act. Okay? You think about the consequences. I mean, imagine a customer walking into your business establishment for entrepreneurs and just punches your staff in the face. I would imagine that the business policy for that establishment is to say, ouch, how can we help you, sir? Apologize. Okay, don't apologize. Just we are working to solve your problem, but the idea is you do not hope that your staff member or member of staff will throw a retaliatory punch at the customer, because that is a frustrated customer who perhaps believes that they are at the end of their wit, at the end of their patience, and they're going to met out their frustration on the first person they see, whether staff or customer. You want to bring that situation, hopefully not a punch. Some customers come with raining all sorts of angry venting and ranting. You don't want your staff to respond to that energy by raving, ranting, and showing off all that energy. You want them to calm the customer down. It's like, please have a seat. I can see you're upset. Let's talk about what is the problem. Okay? Now, that is a more mature way of responding to a situation. Now, bring it to yourself, your life, your situations, your home, your house, your school, your job. That call. Okay? How we relate with people. Rational. Critical. thinking. You think about the consequences of your action before you take them. Doesn't matter how you feel. How you feel is secondary to how you perceive the situation. Now, if your staff member perceives that this is an upset or frustrated customer, that probably is in their right. T-Mobile, thank you for the blackout. Forceful airplane mode. So, if I were to call T-Mobile and say, what y'all think you're doing? No warning, no info, block me out. What is that? I would expect the T-Mobile customer understanding the cause of my frustration, not to him or her, but to the service, would instead reflect and respond to the situation by responding to what is important, which is the issue. Now, if you are not mature, you would take the customer to the bank, no, to the washers. Don't you talk to me like that, okay? Now, let's move on to the next one, which, oops, my phone closed. That's the problem with using your phone as your help. The next one is priorities, values, our choices. See, when you're a young person, you do as you are told. You go to church that your parents go to. You wear what your parents put out for you to wear. You go to secondary, high school, elementary, primary schools that your parents put you in, okay? But as you mature as an adult, your values become your own, your beliefs become your own. And I know people say, oh, but you were brought up in a Christian home. Well, honey, you're supposed to critically assess your religious beliefs. This is what makes you a viable adult. Like me. Viable. Okay? So, priorities, values, self-imposed principles. Okay? Your goals, your interests, your motivations. This is where you say, I'm motivated to do certain things because I feel it is my duty and responsibility as a member of society. Okay? Very key, people. Very key. This is why we need to have responsibility in the society. So, as you become an adult, the second thing that tells you you are a mature adult is you owning your own choices. You own your own values, your own priorities. That's to say, I'm going to go to school because I think schooling or education is a priority for me right now. You say, I'm going to save money because I believe wealth creation and you know, all that stuff is what I want. I'm not going to be partying. Remember? Teenagers, party until you have to put gas in your own car. A lot of parents tell their kids that if I'm going to buy you a car, you got to get a job to put gas in that car. Okay? So, when you decide, oh, I got a car, oh my God, I got a car. Aston Martin. When you get a car and your parents give you the ultimatum, snip, snip, if I'm getting you a car, it's your responsibility to put gas in that car, not mine, okay? So, you decide between drinking, binging, or whatever hula balooing you're doing with your friends that, hey, I need to save this money, pocket money or whatever money, however you get your money. I need to save some of it for gas. How embarrassing it would be to have your car stop in the middle of the road because you didn't put gas in it. Sheesh. So, third is independence and self-control. Now this, people, get into it. Listen, this is huge. Independence. I mean, if there's anything that creates teenage rebellion, is autonomy. To be independent of your parents, to have total control about everything that concerns you. Okay? Now, the balance in conducting oneself around other people. How do you conduct yourself with people? Now, you see, forming healthy relationships is very important because you develop new identities, you develop awareness and concept of yourself. You self-directed, and you test this new self. Independence is a newfound self, a concept of self, an image of self, and how you test the validity of your newfound self. I'm a fashionista. You say that as a kid, and everybody laughs. Oh, so cute. And now that you are, what, 20? Fashionista is supposed to be showing up. You represent yourself, your hair tie, your dress, your jewelry, your makeup, bling bling. Okay? You represent everything in that respect. You start to, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is Adobe. Adada, yo. Okay? So you start to represent yourself, and you show the validity of who you are, of your self-concept, self-awareness, self-identity comes into play. So who are you outside of your last name is the question that is being asked in this particular, in number 3. Okay, because some people do not form healthy relationships, in the sense that when you start to show to your family that this is who I am, I like jazz, I like funk, I like Fuji, they are supposed to respect that as a form of accepting, as a form of what's the word? Acknowledgement, yes. Acknowledgement. So, the relationships in your home will acknowledge that you are a viable, independent agency. Okay? And that means that your parents recognize, your siblings recognize, your extended family, your friends. People can say, oh, I know Ada, this is who she is, this is how she is, this is what she likes, and toss stuff around like that. Now, where there's a problem, you begin to relationships, boyfriend, girlfriend, even the one that's not friend, frenemies, friends are friends, enemy of enemies, all those things. Please dissociate yourself from group mentality, okay? Otherwise, I don't know you, I know you as a association or olodo, okay? So, your emotional and psychological well-being is tied to how successful these relationships are. Because if people do not recognize who you are, you will feel that you don't matter. You will feel like you are not respected. You would feel that you do not have the same, like you do not have value as a person. And that could hurt. So it's important to establish this. Now, another aspect where you can see the trauma of that is where people parent their peers, okay? Or when people act childish, irresponsible. Because the relationships that we have as children are relationship with our parents and relationship with our siblings, okay? And then maybe peers in school. So if the relationship formation shows overly dependent, you don't care for, because it has to be a balance, okay? If you're overly dependent, you find yourself parenting your peers, outsiders, people you don't know. You tell them to sit there, go there. You might meet somebody that will slap you and say, who are you talking to? Am I your mate? Okay? It means you are overly parenting. On the other hand, you goof, you laugh, everything is a joke. People don't take you serious because we don't know if she's serious, we don't know if she's not serious. She's just there, she's just browsing through life, no focus, no dynamics. Okay? Number 4, assertive versus passive. Now, becoming a full adult is when you become accountable for your own destiny. And to be able to be accountable for your own destiny means when you say something, you want to communicate to those around you that, look, I'm serious. You are proactive about the things that concern you, such as if your mother picks out a dress for you, you're like, I'm sorry, mom. No, I'm old enough. Don't do that. Okay, stop it. That's like, mom. No, that fashion is like 2000 and late. Okay. Or if your parents are like, I want you to become a nurse or a doctor. Hmm? Say, no, 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 no. I'm an artist. I'm a musician. Ma, stop it. And you don't just say that. Now, here's the problem with young people of nowadays. They fantasize about these things, but they take no proactive steps to show people that they are serious, that they are self-directed, that they can supervise themselves. Okay, such as going for classes, online tutorials, doing your own research. Because on the other side is waiting to be told what to do. A well-formed adult does not wait to be told what to do, with exceptions for directions, such as laid down instructions of how things are to be carried out. But what happens in the place of an emergency when the higher authority is not available and you are the highest authority? You're in the moment of personal, it's like crossroad. Now you have to be an adult. Now you have to be a grown up. If anything happens around you and it's like, oh my God, we need to take action, and you're there. Are you gonna be? I mean, if you're the oldest in a group of kids and something goes wrong, someone has to take charge and say, let's go, let's do this. And you notice this in people who have leadership potentials. They become self-directed, self-aware, they take charge. Mm-hmm. Last but not least, because one more thing, the other side of proactive is victim mentality. You blame your parents, brothers, sisters, grandparents, aunties, cousins, nephews, government, employee, your colleague. Everything is everybody's fault except you, my dear. It's a victim mentality. Glow up. Grow up. Okay, let's go to number 5. Where was I? Personality and ideologies. Joe, if I could count the number of people, of personalities that are ill-developed. Now, personalities and ideologies help you overcome imposter syndrome. For anyone who is going through imposter syndrome, where you feel you don't belong, you need to look at it's not. Look, you have to understand something. Nobody knows it all. Nobody has it all. Everybody is a work in progress. So if you've worked hard and you are recognized amongst your peers, you own it. Forget humble brag. Forget humility. If you've worked so hard to be somewhere, then you deserve to be there. So when you get it, own it. Okay? I'm on it. I'm on it. Yeah. Okay? Your ideologies become your own. You begin to think about why is the culture. Talk about feminism. Talk about traditional marriages in African places. Talk about divorce rates in Western world. You begin to form your own identity, your own ideologies, your own personality. How you want people to relate with you. Okay? And you have to know that, okay, this is my concept of myself. How do you receive or perceive criticism? How do you perceive feedback? How do you grow? Because personalities and ideologies is a question of growth. How do you grow? How do you develop? How do you adapt? Okay? If you don't have a system of how you change, how you become better, this is not working. I used to think that Black people were second, we're not humans. Now I know better, so I know that Black people are human beings. I'm talking to, yourself. So, good people. This is very good and important because without these well-formed mindsets. We'll talk about your choices, talk about being accountable. Let's run through them once again, okay? Number one, your response. Number two, your choices. How you respond to things, number one. Two, your choices. You're not making choices for yourself. What do you choose in terms of where you live, who you befriend, who you become intimate with? What is your understanding? What do you think is good or bad about relationships, about friendships, about loyalty, morals, ethics? Your choices, because now you begin to see the consequences of your choices. Okay? Then we'll talk about independence, self-control, your own self-directed autonomy. And then we'll talk about number 4, accountability, and number 5, growth. Okay? So, to become a well and fully formed adult, make sure that you see yourself as you perceive things through an adult lens. That means you must become responsible. The summary of the topic is adults are responsible. They take charge. They don't pass the buck. They don't become victim. They are not dependent on parents for decision making. You need to be able to own, because this is when you go out into the workforce. This is what makes you a viable, an asset to a company. This is what makes you a great surgeon. This is what makes you a great businessman or great businesswoman. This is what makes you a business mogul, because you see opportunities. You are proactive. You are careful of your interactions with people. You make a balance that this person is not your parents, so you don't need to defer, but there's respect. This is not your sibling, so you don't need to parent them, and this is not your parent, you don't need to become a child where they are. So it's all about balance. So we've come to the end of this beautiful episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You know me. So guys, link below for resources that I used. Okay, your girl got you. Thank you guys so much for hanging with me. Just take care of yourself, take care of your health. God bless you. Most importantly, God bless. Your girl signing out. Woohoo! Bye, lovely people, beautiful people.